Today we are going to learn about mastering GitHub Actions for JavaScript CI/CD. We will explore setting up a CI/CD pipeline using GitHub Actions for JavaScript projects, covering automation of testing and deployment, and enhancing software quality and delivery speed. Welcome to our video on mastering GitHub Actions for JavaScript CI/CD. In this tutorial, we will explore how GitHub Actions can revolutionize the way you manage your JavaScript projects through automation. GitHub Actions is a powerful tool that allows developers to automate workflows directly in their repositories. For JavaScript projects, this means you can automate testing, deployment, and much more, all from the comfort of your GitHub repository. Understanding continuous integration, CI, and continuous deployment, CD, is essential in today's fast-paced software development environment. With CI/CD, you can ensure that your code is always in a deployable state, reducing the time it takes to deliver features and fixes to your users. By the end of this video, you'll have a solid grasp of setting up and managing CI/CD workflows for JavaScript applications using GitHub Actions.
Let's start by setting up a basic JavaScript project repository. First, navigate to GitHub and create a new repository. Name it appropriately and decide whether it should be public or private based on your needs. Once created, clone the repository to your local machine. Next, open your terminal and navigate to the cloned repository folder. Initialize a new node.js project by running npm init-y. This command will generate a package.json file, which will store metadata about your project and its dependencies. It's important to add a gitignore file to prevent certain files and directories, such as node_modules, from being tracked by Git. Create a gitignore file and add common node.js exclusions. Now, let's commit our initial setup. Stage the changes with git add. And commit them with git commit m initial project setup. Finally, push these changes to your GitHub repository using git push origin main. You now have a basic JavaScript project repository ready to go. With our project repository set up, it's time to create a simple C workflow using GitHub Actions. Workflows are defined in YAML files, typically located in the GitHub/workflows directory of your repository. Create this directory and add a new file named main.yml. Inside main.yml, we define our C workflow. Start by specifying a name for the workflow. Under on, specify the events that will trigger the workflow. For our example, we'll use push and pull_request. Next, define the jobs that make up the workflow. Each job runs independently and can contain multiple steps. Create a job named build that runs on the latest version of Ubuntu. Under steps, use the action/checkout at v2 action to check out the repository code. Then, add a step to set up node.js and another to install project dependencies using npm install. Finally, run a simple script, such as npm run build. Once you've defined your workflow, commit and push the changes to GitHub. Navigate to the Actions tab of your repository to view the results of the workflow. You'll see a summary of the jobs and steps, along with any errors or warnings. Automated testing is a crucial part of any CI/CD pipeline. In this block, we'll integrate Jest, a popular testing framework for JavaScript, into our project. Start by installing Jest as a development dependency with npm install save dev jest. Next, create a test directory and add some test files. For example, create a file named example.test.js and write simple test cases using Jest test and expect functions. In your package.json file, add a test script that runs Jest, like Jest. Now, let's update our GitHub Actions workflow to include automated testing. Open main.yml and add a new job named test. This job should also run on the latest version of Ubuntu. Under steps, repeat the actions to check out the code and set up node.js. Install the dependencies and then run the test script with npm test. Commit and push these changes to GitHub. Once the workflow is triggered, navigate to the Actions tab to view the test results. If all tests pass, you'll see a green checkmark. If any tests fail, you'll be able to view detailed error messages to help diagnose the issue. Handling environment variables securely is vital for protecting sensitive data. In this section, we'll learn how to configure environment variables using GitHub secrets. GitHub secrets allow you to store sensitive information like API keys and access tokens securely. To add a new secret, navigate to your repository settings, and under the Secrets and Variables section, click on New Repository Secret. Enter a name and value for your secret. Once added, secrets can be accessed in your workflow using the secrets context. For example, if you have a secret named API_key, you can access it in a step using $secrets. API_key. Ensure that your workflow files do not expose secrets by mistake. Only use secrets in steps where necessary, and avoid logging them to the console. After configuring secrets, test your workflow to ensure everything works as expected. If a step fails due to a missing or incorrect secret, you'll see an error message in the Actions tab. Properly managing environment variables is crucial for maintaining the security and integrity of your CI/CD pipeline. Deploying your application to a cloud platform is often the final step in a CI/CD pipeline. In this part, we'll explore deploying to a platform like AWS or Heroku using GitHub Actions. First, choose the cloud provider that best fits your project's needs and set up the necessary credentials. For AWS, you'll need an IAM user with deployment permissions. For Heroku, you'll need an API key. Store these credentials securely in GitHub Secrets. Next, create deployment scripts that automate the deployment process. For AWS, you might use the AWS CLI to deploy to services like S3 or Lambda. For Heroku, you can use the Heroku CLI to push your application. Update your GitHub Actions workflow to include a deploy job. This job should run only after the build and test jobs have completed successfully. Use the appropriate actions and commands to execute your deployment scripts. Once set up, commit and push your changes to trigger the workflow. After deployment, verify that your application is live and functioning as expected on the chosen cloud platform.
Despite careful planning, issues can arise in any C/CD workflow. In this section, we'll discuss how to troubleshoot common problems in GitHub Actions. Start by examining the error messages in the Actions tab. These messages often provide clues about what went wrong. Common causes of workflow failures include syntax errors in YAML files, missing dependencies, and incorrect script paths. Use the detailed logs generated by GitHub Actions to trace the steps leading up to the error. Look for any warnings or errors in the logs that could indicate the root cause. Debugging workflows can be challenging, so consider adding additional logging to your scripts to capture more information. If you're still stuck, search for similar issues in GitHub's community forums and documentation. Other developers may have encountered and solved the same problem. Don't hesitate to ask for help if needed. Many issues can be resolved by making small adjustments to your workflow configuration or scripts. With practice, you'll become more skilled at diagnosing and fixing workflow issues.
To make the most of your C/CD pipeline, it's important to follow best practices that enhance efficiency and reliability. Start by optimizing build times. Long-running builds can slow down the feedback loop for developers. Identify bottlenecks in your build process and look for ways to streamline them. Reusing workflow components is another effective strategy. If you have multiple projects with similar workflows, consider creating reusable workflow templates. This reduces duplication and makes maintenance easier. Implement caching strategies to speed up builds. For example, cache dependencies like node_modules to avoid reinstalling them on every run. GitHub Actions provides built-in caching features that are easy to configure. Regularly review and update your workflows to keep them in line with the latest best practices and GitHub Actions features. As new features are released, they may offer more efficient ways to accomplish tasks. Staying informed about updates to GitHub Actions can help you take advantage of improvements and avoid deprecated features. By following these best practices, your C/CD workflows will be more efficient, maintainable, and scalable.
Congratulations on mastering GitHub Actions for JavaScript C/CD. In this video, we've covered the essentials of setting up a continuous integration and deployment pipeline using GitHub Actions. From initializing a JavaScript project repository to performing automated testing and deploying to a cloud platform, you've gained valuable skills that will enhance your software development process. C/CD is a critical component of modern software development, enabling faster delivery and higher quality. As you continue your journey, practice what you've learned by applying these concepts to your own projects. Consider exploring additional resources and tutorials to deepen your understanding. We're excited to see what you'll build with your newfound skills. Happy coding!